everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fangs Out. We have Kyle here of Markham Reptiles. So thank you for coming on, Kyle.
Absolutely, Megan. Megan, I just noticed that my name's spelled wrong in the title.
Oh no! Bro, listen, when I've been at work, I'm like speed typing, right? So you got typos left and right. I'm so sorry about that.
That's
So guys,
okay.
the correct name is what's actually under his video.
Yeah, I put it under myself too, so.
We'll fix that or we'll adjust it for you.
I appreciate it. It's funny after our backstage conversation, that's all.
Yeah, we were just talking about like I might potentially call you Mark because I kept calling him Mark because of his last name, but it's Kyle. Oh man, but
You guys
we're
got it
talking
out for
about
me today, man.
yo. I swear that's exactly what it is. There's some days I'm like I can't get anything right with names. I'll forget your name entirely. I'm like, who am I talking to? Crap.
It's totally okay.
But yes, go follow him on YouTube, Instagram, all 9 yards, because we are talking tonight about social media content creation while you also are focusing on exotic animals. So, Kyle, do you want to kind of get into it a little bit? Because I know you have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, I do. So I've been doing reptiles full time for 8 months now.
Solid.
So that
How has
consists.
that been?
It's been cool. I mean, it's actually starting to really get flowing now. At first it was a bit slower, to be expected with any business you're starting up. But now it's really flowing. So I'm really happy with how things are going now. So it's basically
Congratulations.
thanks so much, Meg. Yeah, I'm really happy with how things are going. And I never really expected it to be any different. I was always pretty confident that this would happen. And I'm confident that it'll grow and grow from here as well. But I'm doing YouTube. I'm, here and there I'll get a wholesale group of animals. I'll keep it for a couple months. I'll make sure that they're healthy, they're eating well, and I'll literally quarantine for a couple months. And then after that, I'll resell those animals. And I also am breeding as well. So that's kind of the three parts of what I do. And YouTube, I'm hoping, will be the main part in the future.
Nice. I didn't realize you were also, I mean, I guess I kind of saw some things when it came to breeding, but that's really awesome that that's taken off too for you.
Yeah, I mean, I have about a month left on my northern white-lipped python eggs that I'm incubating right now. So, I mean, I have more northern white-lipped python eggs in incubation than there are for sale on Morph Market in the entire country.
That
Uh,
is awesome.
so yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. My logo is the northern white-lipped python, so really happy about that project. Hatched out a bunch of ball pythons. And yeah, I still got a couple pairs that I'm pairing up kind of later in the season here, but I love the stuff that I bring in too in the wholesale groups. It's cool to just work with certain animals without even breeding them, keep them for a while, get to experience different types of animals and stuff like that, get to kind of sample different things.
That's really cool. Just kind of seeing bits and pieces and working with what's out there across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you a bit of background since we're talking about social media and YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So social media in general, I kind of just realized I was going to start getting into reptiles, and I started an Instagram first. And I started that 2 years ago. It's literally
Okay.
been about 2 years, and I'm up above like 5,000 followers on Instagram.
That is incredible. Good for you, man.
Thank you. And I do have a method to how I do that if you want to get into that as well. But
Yeah.
YouTube, I started it a year ago, and I had maybe 10 videos before I went full time 8 months ago. And now I have like almost 1,000 videos, but that includes shorts. And I have almost 1 million views in total. And I
Wow.
have like 1,675 subscribers was the number when I was on there like 20 minutes ago.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm starting to get excited about that. I really like YouTube, and
You
I'll try
should.
to post like a TikTok a day. I'm not really part of the TikTok generation. I was I was kind of okay with it getting banned, so I didn't have to put the extra effort into uploading on it.
Right.
But
Exactly.
since it's around and it's something people use, I post on there once a day as well. So, but yeah, so I'll walk you through what my day consists of, and I'll just use today as an example. It does change day to day, but
Yeah.
I woke up at 6:30, and basically, I woke up in the morning. My oldest son, I have two kids. I have a soon-to-be 12-year-old, and I have a 3-year-old. So very far apart, very different lives. But
Very.
yeah, but yeah. So my 12-year-old is not back in school yet, but he does start school like next week. But there wasn't anything to do with him in the morning since he's not in school yet. My youngest son, my 3-year-old, goes to daycare. So I woke up at 6:30. I basically talked to my wife and planned what I was going to do today and stuff like that. And then talked the day through with her and then helped her, get my youngest son ready for daycare a bit. And then by 7:30, an hour later, I was in the snake room cleaning. So I have about 45 animals right now.
Wow.
Well, it's actually just like 45 snakes. I also have a lizard. I have some tarantulas and stuff like that. And I have a dog, and I wasn't counting those. But yeah, I have like 45 snakes right now, including a bunch of babies. So I just fed them a couple days ago. So when you feed snakes, first you get the urades and the urine and stuff like that. And then a couple days after that, you start getting the defecations and stuff like that. So today I was cleaning, the first round. So I pretty much had to clean everything, give everything new water, and stuff like that. I have some bigger snakes, so this is their first cleaning since they ate. So like, I won't get too graphic with it, but like bigger prey items leave more of a mess,
Yeah.
upon impact and stuff like that. So you definitely got to get that stuff out of there because just bad bacteria and stuff like that. So
I
just
say it's just gonna
cleaning,
cause nastiness.
yeah,
Yeah.
starts nasty and gets nastier. So,
Exactly.
so yeah. Hey, Kat.
Hey,
And
Kat.
yeah, so I basically from 7:30 to 11:30 I clean snakes.
That's a
Literally
decent chunk of time right there.
4 hours straight I clean snakes. And then I stopped around 11:30. I was actually done, and I made myself lunch and ate lunch. And I actually watched a podcast while I was eating lunch. By the way, I watch podcasts while I clean snakes. So anyone who's
Me
watching
too.
it, yeah, like that's the best time, peak
It
podcast
is.
time.
Yep. At
Yeah,
all
so
times.
definitely, if you guys are catching the replay, cleaning your snakes, shout out to you guys. That's when I listen to podcasts, is when I'm cleaning. I catch up on all my podcasts. But yeah, so I watched a podcast while I ate lunch as well. And then I was, in the meantime, I'm checking social media. I'm checking my Patreon. I'm checking Instagram. I'm checking Morph Market. I have a lot of snakes on Morph Market right now. I had an auction end today, so I had to check on that and see what was going on. I have 3 snakes shipping out this week, so I was kind of gathering all the clients' information, their addresses, their FedEx hubs, their emails, their phone numbers, and stuff like that, and then printing out labels. When you buy boxes from anywhere, really, you have to assemble them. So I'm assembling the shipping boxes. I just get them ready. I send everyone a feeding chart with every snake. So I just go ahead and print the feeding chart. So, I'm shipping different snakes different days this week, but I have every box ready to go. It has a snake bag in it. It has the label already printed out. It's in the box. All I do is tape it to the box later. I drilled holes in the side already. And I have the feeding chart with like a little note for the customer in the box. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I did until, 1 something or something like that after I ate. I probably ate for like 30 minutes, 11:30 to 12. And then after that, I was kind of getting orders together. I had to redo a label because I messed up somebody's name. Um, his name was
That
actually,
happens.
yeah, his name was Jonathan with 2 O's and instead of 2 A's. So the last letter, the last A, it wasn't
Yep.
an A, it was an O, and I put an A, and I sent it
That would
to
have
him
messed
to
me up
check.
too, though,
Yeah,
in your
I,
defense.
yeah, and the way that the font was, I sent it to him to check, and you couldn't see like the tail coming off the A, so it looked like an O. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I bought the label, and then I sent it to him, and I was like, just do another final check to make sure it's good. And it is the same information I just sent him, but it was a different font. So he was like, actually, there's an O right there. And then I was like, okay. So I had to contact customer service and then be like, can you cancel that label? I need to make one with the correct name, because you know how
Right.
you show ID when you go
Yep.
pick up a box. So I make sure that name's right. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they don't have
That's
a problem with
important.
that. Yeah. So they just like, they cancel it and then you make a new one. But I did that and that took a bit. But then I shot a YouTube video after that. So I shot a YouTube video and I did a little bit of editing on it, and that took me up until like 4 p.m. At 4 p.m., I actually worked out with my wife, and we worked out for like an hour until 5. And at 5, I started editing my video. And I edited my video, and then I uploaded it to YouTube. I put all the tags on it. I wrote the description and stuff like that, made the thumbnail, and that took me up until right now. And now I'm on a podcast.
You have had a packed day, my dude.
And literally all I'm doing is reptiles all day.
Right. It's
Yeah.
back to back. And it's like if it's not maintaining the reptiles you have, it's making sure that your shipments are proper, ready to go. If it's not that, it's you're having to film and create content. And not I
Yeah.
mean, not just YouTube content, but then adding on Instagram and TikTok, things like that. So I mean that would take hours on hours to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've probably made 3 or 4 Instagram posts today. I haven't looked, but in total, in the 2 years, we all know there's 365 days in a year. In 2 years, I have over 1,500 Instagram posts.
You
So
are posting consistently.
yeah, I'm active. I consistently post. I post all throughout the day. I'm cleaning this animal. It just shed. You know what? I'm gonna take it outside and make a video, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna post that. And I'll post something in the morning. I'll post something in the middle of the day, and then something at the end. And then that's kind of like my minimum. You know what I mean? And if I was feeding snakes today, all my snakes except for 2 are nocturnal. So I feed everything at night. So,
Yep.
let's say I was feeding today or whatever like that. I would then go after this and feed snakes. Actually, I forgot something too. I put out YouTube videos every 2 days. So I had a video premiere at 6 p.m. So I, have to make a post about that, and then I share that to my story. And I watch my video. I used to be the first person to watch it all the time, but now I'm starting to pick up some steam. So it seems like I can never be the first person anymore, which is good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I watch it all the way through, and I try to start the algorithm off because the algorithm tracks, how long the video is watched. So I watch it from beginning to end. I like it. I share it to my Instagram stories. So that video in its first view, hypothetically, I can't seem to view it first anymore, but which is fine. It's a good thing. But
Right.
yeah,
It's a positive.
yeah, in its first view, that video has been watched in its entirety, liked, and shared. So that's what I try to do to give my videos a good start with the algorithm. Every Instagram video I post, I watch it in its entirety. I share it to my story and I like it. And that's the first interaction it has with the algorithm.
And then that kind of feeds the algorithm though by giving it that little, I want to say like a boost,
Yeah,
a
it
little
gives you that
push
fighting
start.
chance.
Right, exactly. I think
Yeah,
that works though. Like there's something to it when you're creating that content and then you're just consistently sharing it, especially you specifically, because you're pushing it out there even more. More people are going to start seeing it.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple videos go viral. I have a couple videos with over 2 million views. I consider like anything over 100,000 viral. But I've had a couple
Yeah.
with like 2 million and stuff like that. Thanks, Kat. It's funny what goes viral. Like I had a video of just a really beautiful northern white-lipped python in the sun go viral, and that was cool. But then I'm like shocked sometimes. Like I took my snake outside in my yard. One of my scrub python actually. It's right next to me, staring at me right now. I don't know. I pointed, even though you guys can't see it. But yeah, so I took him outside and he pooped and I recorded it. And then that's like 2.3 million views, like boom. But like all day I'm taking these artistic pictures of beautiful snakes in the perfect lighting that I could find, and like putting all this effort in, and then a snake pooping just goes viral, you know.
That's what gets the people. They
Yeah,
want to see
like
the snakes pooping. Like,
yeah, like a snake trying to eat my hand like this week got me like 10,000 quick views, you know. Uh,
right.
this jungle carpet python that I got in, you know, it must have been hungry. You know, it was fine. It was acting chill, and then I took it actually to my oldest son's room, and he's obsessed with ramen noodles. So he had just eaten ramen noodles, and his entire room smelled like beef ramen. And for some reason, the snake was just like, you know what, I want that. And here's the closest thing to me, and just latched on to me. Um,
The snake likes ramen too.
yeah. And then I
That's
put
great.
that sound on it. It was like nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday or whatever it is.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh wait, I think I saw that.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful snake. Like it's a 75% ivory jungle carpet and stuff like that. Like I got this super expensive snake trying to eat my hand. Uh,
Right.
but
Like,
yeah, I
but you're
mean,
worth it.
yeah. But yeah, like that's the type of stuff that gets clicks, you know. But I just consistently try to upload, and you know, eventually I throw stuff at the wall, and eventually something sticks, you know. And
Right.
yeah, I try to put out the best quality content I can, so that I give it that fighting chance, you know.
Definitely. How, I mean, how, I'm thinking like mentally, how mentally is it hard for you to balance all that? Or do you find it to be like kind of a peaceful thing, like a chill thing for you mentally?
For me, this is the best possible thing I could be doing with my life, and I want to give this the I want to succeed. I'm going to succeed. You know what I mean? I'm driven to succeed.
Right.
So really, I'm happy doing all of this. You know, this is exactly what makes me happy. And I really love doing this. You know, so no, it's not difficult. I've always my whole life been very motivated. And a lot of times in the past, I was motivated purely. I would do this same amount of work, and it would be purely for money, but this is
Right.
something I'm happy doing. So this is really the first thing I've ever done in my life that was not for money. This is
There's that
really,
passion there, and there's actually like a true love for it, you know?
yeah, I feel like this is really my calling. So
Yeah.
therefore, I also have to accompany that with making it work long term. I can't just do this, you know, go flat broke and then quit either.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there does have to be that financial aspect paired with it. And but I'm a firm believer in that just keep doing what I love and the money will come, you know? And I don't have
Yeah.
to press it or produce a million animals or lower my standards and cut corners and stuff like that to make that happen. And YouTube is like a slow burn. It's something that you slowly build up, you start slowly getting paid, and stuff like that. And eventually, I'm hoping that YouTube will be my main source of income and the main thing that I do. And that way, I don't have to produce a million animals. I don't have to, you know, be a breeder that has 1,000 snakes or something like that. And it's just, you know, constantly pumping out animals, you know, because that's not my idea of a good time. I just want to have good variety. You know, about this collection size I have right now is about the most that I want.
Right. You've kind of, you have that max limit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to spend 8 hours a day just cleaning because, as I told you, I've spent, you know, going on 12 hours right now just doing reptiles in total. You know, and then
Right.
tonight, I'm still answering customers tonight once we're done with this podcast. And in the morning, when I was talking to my wife, I'm answering people from last night, stuff that they said while I was asleep, you know, and
Right.
stuff like that. And, you know, it just never, I'm happy working those hours for myself. And I would never be happy working that for somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm doing something good. I really do. I try to keep my videos on YouTube positive, and I try to really help people and solve problems that people really have and address those. And if you guys ever have, you know, something you want me to address on YouTube, I'm always open to suggestions, and I will also shout you out in the video for having the idea. So credit where credit is due as well. But yeah, I really think that I'm doing something positive. I see it when my nieces, nephews, my kids' friends come over, and they're just astounded that they can hold 10 different snakes that look completely different in 5 minutes. You know, and
Right.
yeah, they love it, and it's like you see that spark just get ignited in them, and that's what makes this work doing.
I really like that you brought that up because that's a really huge positive thing. And I really do love the way that you do your videos as far as like getting people engaged with the content and then even, utilizing some of that for inspiration behind the content. Like that's a very admirable thing I think to do when it comes to keeping the community positive, but also the exposure that younger kids are getting to these awesome snakes, That's that's one of the most positive things I think about being on social media. Not just kids, but like anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I'm in it for. I don't, I'm trying to find new ways, and I'm learning as I go, but I'm trying to find new ways where I can incorporate people that are not already part of the community, because I could talk to everybody all day that already loves snakes, that already loves tarantulas and different things, and it wouldn't make much difference. Yeah, they'd
Right.
learn more, but the real difference is made when you start reaching outside of that community and you start to reach other people that don't know as much, that are getting their first exposure and stuff like that. You know, like my niece
Right.
sent me a video from the zoo, and it was just her recording an emerald tree boa. And she was like, "Send this to Uncle Kyle," because she knows I like snakes. And then, I saw that she had some interest in snakes, and the last time I'd seen her before that, she's like, "You like snakes?" And I was like, "Yeah." Thanks so much, Kat. And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, why? They're gross. But then our next interaction was her texting me that video from the zoo, like, show this to Uncle Kyle. And then I sent her a snake shed in the mail. She's in like North Carolina. I'm in Virginia. Um, at the opposite ends, like I'm at the top of Virginia. She's at the bottom of North Carolina.
Okay.
They're both big states. But so yeah, she's actually like probably six, hours away or whatever. But yeah, I sent her a snake shed, and I do the same thing with my nephew to just keep that love alive of animals, And then they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And then I send them a picture of which snake it came from. Then they learn something, and then it just opens them up for the future. And if she's never held a snake yet, and eventually she'll come here and hold a snake.
And that's really cool to see too, is that fear kind of like dissipate.
Yeah, for sure, and I do it with adults too.
Yeah.
I've had tons of family members that were mortified of snakes, and that completely changed just through exposure therapy, through seeing me constantly holding snakes, walking around the house, and seeing them. Oh, it's in the same room. It's not biting me. It's not killing him. It's just there existing. Oh,
Right.
and eventually, a month goes by, or depending on their level of fear, a month may go by, and then they say, "Could I touch it?" And then they'll touch by the tail, and then a month later they're holding it.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it works. And some people will get over it the first day. Some people will take a lot longer, but it really depends on the level of fear that's there.
Right. And I like that, what's the quote? It's like change begins outside of your comfort zone,
Yeah,
So like you
absolutely.
said, we could sit here and I mean, as a reptile keeper, of course, I'm going to consume your content naturally, just like, anyone else who keeps reptiles would. But it is so important too, like you said, to reach it. I never even thought about it that way, to reach out to people who are scared so that you can show them a different side of things.
Yeah, for sure. And I did. I'm sure you have seen them. I know you have actually because you've been a part of a lot of them. I do a lot of different polls, asking questions, and I'll do
Yes.
top 5 lists based on people's answers.
I
And
love those.
they're fun for me too. It gives me an idea of what's going on, what people's current viewpoints are, and it's a good feel it gives me a good feel for the community and stuff like that. Hey, is that Ken? Hey, Ken. And then, yeah, I really love doing those videos. But yeah, so the number one way that people said to continue to spread the love of reptiles was to educate children. So that was like
100%.
overwhelmingly the number one answer by it far. And that's definitely true. I mean, look at popular YouTubers, right? Look at Snake Discovery. It's probably the most popular reptile channel right now. Their
Wow.
main audience is kids. There's people, every time I go to a Snake Discovery video, the top comment is, I don't even own a snake. I don't even know why I'm watching this. Have you ever seen the videos, the top comments like that? And it's
I've
like,
seen comments similar to that, but like
yeah,
that one genuinely takes the cake for me because of how brutally honest it is. It's just
yeah. I
like,
mean,
this is cool. Don't know what it is, but like super rad.
that's what I want. I want to be educating people that they're just sitting there on a whatever Tuesday night, and
Yeah.
they're just watching YouTube and they're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this, and then they're suddenly fascinated by everything that's going on. You know, uh,
Right.
yeah, I
It
want to
caught
find a
their
way to do that.
attention. It
Yeah,
caught their attention for some reason, and they're like, I'm just going to keep watching this.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I mean, that's the type of stuff that people like to watch, like Clint's Reptiles, and other. He's
I
more
like him too.
scientific. He's good. I mean, he's more scientific and stuff, but he's kid friendly as well. you
Yeah.
know yeah, and then I mean, another side of it would be people that are like heavily clickbait, but then they give you facts once you get in there. And there's nothing wrong with clickbait in my opinion, because it's very true that what matters is the content of the video, because there's something called confirmation bias. So like, I made a video about snakes killing and eating people, right? That was literally the title: snakes killing and eating people. And a thing I get asked all the time about, like, my reticulated python. People are like, "What about when she's big enough to kill you and eat you?" And then, first of all, I mean, I'm 6'5". I'm like 280 pounds. I don't think there's no way that I'm not feeding her goats.
There's
You know
no
what I mean?
way. Yeah.
But even if I did, I don't think she could manage it. But that's not the point. I put like I didn't put a snake eating me as the thumbnail or something, but I put me holding a big retic that was like 16 feet, and then the title was "Snakes Killing and Eating People." So if people think that snakes, that people get eaten by their pet snakes all the time, and they see that thumbnail, they're gonna think that guy probably got eaten by that snake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they're going to click the video. But then when they click the video, they're going to learn some facts from me. They're going to learn that no captive bred snake, no captive snake in general, even if it was wild caught, has ever eaten a human being of any size,
Right.
whether it was a baby or an adult. And they're going to be like, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Then they're going to Google it, and they're never going to find one case of a human being being eaten, even by a reticulated python or an anaconda. There's no record of an anaconda ever killing a human being.
Right.
There's no proven record that an anaconda has ever killed a human. And I mean, retics have killed people and eaten them in the wild, and it's like zero point 0.4 people a year, but like 60 people a year get killed by dogs.
Well,
I
I
have.
always question too is like, what happened to provoke the snake? Or like, number one, what were you doing that close to a wild, giant snake to begin with? And that's
the,
not always the case, but
the
I question it.
reality is, it's somebody in Southeast Asia that lives next to this giant snake, lives near them, and the snakes that are found that get the biggest are always around human civilization, and that's because there's so many prey items near humans. They're eating, different things. They're eating different animals, maybe livestock, even, at a certain size for reticulated pythons. But likely, I think the most recent person to get eaten by a reticulated python was a woman in Southeast Asia, and she could have been outside picking berries from a bush. She's making rustling noises. She has a heat signature. That snake is sitting in ambush and has been for months, and then it just strikes out and eats her. But
Do they, I don't mean to cut you off. I
no,
want to
you're
add
okay.
to, I want to question though, like with these snakes, do they is it a certain like is it a certain size human? I guess my curiosity is piqued, right? So I'm like,
Yes. The answer is yes. It tends to be a much smaller like human. I think the last person that got eaten was like 5'2".
okay,
Um, and that being said, though, it's still a rarity. Like they don't hunt people on purpose.
right,
So there's something about a human body that's hard for snakes to swallow, and also it's really the something is our shoulders. Our shoulders are too wide to be swallowed by them successfully most of the time. So they don't really, for that reason, recognize us as prey. We also walk on two legs. And if you think about it, everything that they're eating, even the large prey items, like you'll see an African rock python eat an antelope or something like that. That animal's on four legs. And they don't see us and really register us as prey. We are a predator to them. So
right,
most of the time, I mean, all of the time, when people have been eaten, and they've only ever been eaten by very large reticulated pythons, it has been very small people. And it's always by accident, I would assume, because that snake just makes a snap judgment. It might be asleep or anything like that. And then it's like, pray, this is my chance, and just strikes and wraps.
right.
You
And I mean, it
know,
happens with sharks too. You know, they'll take that curiosity bite. It's not they're not going after you necessarily, but they're hungry.
yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
it is an apex predator in that way, but they definitely sharks don't kill many people either, really, and
no,
contextually compared to a lot of things. But snakes kill far less. I mean, literally zero point 0.4 people a year die from non-venomous snakes. Venomous snakes are a different story.
right.
But also they serve their purpose as well. Many medicines are made out of their venom. They keep rodent populations down. Rodents spread disease, and really the only time they're biting you is if you're messing with them or stepping on them. And they can accidentally come into contact with people sometimes, but usually you can call snake removal and stuff like that instead of chopping their head off, or whatever.
Right.
But
There's always safe alternatives.
yeah, but like a lot of snakes that people think have eaten human beings haven't. I mean, like Burmese pythons have never eaten a human, anacondas, African rock pythons, nothing but reticulated pythons, and it's very rare. I think it's like 3 times in the past 15 years that it's happened.
Wow. Yeah, that's I don't want to say that's nothing because my heart goes out to obviously the families of anyone who's
Absolutely.
experienced that. But that's really low in comparison to, I mean, even lightning, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like millions of people are killed by mosquitoes. you know,
Mosquitoes are a great one.
yeah, stuff
They
like that.
suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for some reason, and I think it's because reticulated pythons, for example, and a lot of snakes are really smart. This doesn't happen in captivity, though. And that's because we're bringing them, their food is on a regiment. They learn the routine based around their food and stuff like that. So when people do die from snakes in captivity, normally it's because they're holding a really big snake and it gets around their neck. And a lot of
Right.
times they're just holding on like a tree or something like that. But I'm sure if you've ever held a big snake, then you know when it is super strong. So if
Very.
you let it get around your neck and it's just literally just holding on to you, you could pass out in about 8 seconds just from that. So it's like
Oh, yeah.
irresponsible handling, or people make mistakes handling, is usually the problem, and that also does not happen very often either.
Right. That one's a rare one. I think, when it comes to, and I'm thankful, I would hope this is the case that a lot of people I have met in my journey who have bigger snakes, whether it's reticulated or Burmese or even anaconda, like they know and they respect the size of the snake in the sense of like, I'm a small person. I cannot handle one of those snakes by myself. So anytime that I'm like, oh, let me hold this snake, they have to be there, because you need two people sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you own a snake like that, which I do, she's still young, but I have close friends that own adult retics and stuff like that. When you own a snake that you know is a giant species, you need to work with that snake its entire life to make sure that it is the most socialized animal that you have. I spend more time with my retic than all of my other snakes, and I have a friend that has a snake, and she actually started out really defensive. My buddy Dan from Shack Scales, he has a snake named Muffin. She's a 16-foot retic at the moment. I think she's only 6 years old, so she may still.
Named Muffin. That is perfect.
She's so sweet now too. It's
Oh
actually the
man.
perfect name for her, but she didn't start that way. And he does. I mean, he literally he'll be cleaning all his snakes, and he probably has like 60 snakes. Um, he'll be cleaning all his snakes in his snake room, and then he'll just open up her cage and she'll just stare at him for a while. And he's like a bit unorthodox. I'm sure you know about tap training,
Yeah.
stuff like that. He'll just open it and not even tap her, and then she'll just be there staring at him. And eventually, she realizes this guy is never food. Whenever he's walking around, he's never food. And then
She
he
affiliates that.
yeah, he kind of, I actually just, he never told me, but learning from watching him and how he interacts with Muffin, I basically learned that you can go even beyond the tap training and develop even more of a understanding with your animal, by just involving it more. His room, and I want to get my room like this because I have to take my snake outside, but his room is set up to where if she comes out, he doesn't even pay attention to her. There's nothing that she can get tangled up in. I say nothing. He's definitely had instances where she has
Right.
gotten certain things, but he fixed them after to where she couldn't. But it's like a retake proof room, basically. And she goes out and just does whatever she wants. And literally, she pays him no mind. She goes and he pays her no mind. And they just
Right.
coexist together. And
That's so cool. I
it is
love that.
yeah, and she's super smart. And then he'll send me these videos where he's like cleaning, and he'll be just darting back and forth in front of her, and the cage will be open. He's never tapped her or anything, and then she's just sitting there, and he's like, "They have the worst feeding response. Their feeding response is so bad." He's just like walking right in front of her face, and he's like, "Now she's gonna wrap me up and bite me," and then he's just like walking back and forth and
Oh no.
doing everything that would trigger a snake that's not used to that
Right.
but she's very used to it, and it's pretty cool. He literally works with her every day, and every time that my snake Eva is not digesting, I do the same thing with her. I work with her every day. I expose her to weird situations. She's about 9 feet right now, so I'll literally still put her in a tree outside and let her climb.
I bet she
um,
loves that.
She actually does. I mean, she's a great climber at her age. I mean, these snakes are coming naturally. I mean, she's from a line that's been captive bred like 50 years. But naturally, they have instincts to do that because they come from an area where there's tigers. I mean, there's all types of ridiculous animals where they come from.
Right.
So they're climbing and surviving in the trees. But yeah, I'll put her in the tree, and then when she starts getting too high up, I'll start moving her down. And like I made a video recently where I let her go swimming in a swimming pool. That's basically a big kiddie swimming pool for my youngest son. So I just fill it up. It's non-chlorinated water, of course, and I'll just
Yeah.
let her move around. But yeah, like snakes like that need to get out and understand the world outside of their enclosure. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean they're smarter than people think, and they do have a heavy food response. But at some point, you need to learn to override that and kind of build a routine with them because they do understand routines. And if the
Right.
only time you open that enclosure is to feed them, they're going to come flying out of it. But if you spend a lot of time with them, doing anything else but feeding them, then they're going to get really used to you. And like Eva, my reticulated python, I'll hand her to people. I'll hand her to kids of a certain age, as long as I'm right there next to them, like you were saying, so that
Right.
they don't let her around their neck and stuff like that. But she'll go from the kids and she'll go towards me, and literally just try to be on me instead. And I don't.
That's the
I'm
preference right there.
yeah. I'm not saying that she. I don't know, and I'm not going to say that she doesn't either. I'm not saying she loves me. I'm not saying she doesn't love me. But what I'm saying is she knows me and
She
she's
feels
comfortable.
safe with you.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
knows that this guy is familiar. You know what I mean?
That
So,
one.
and she knows the difference between me and somebody else. So and there's a lot of snakes that people don't give credit for being as smart as they are too. Like a lot of
Oh,
different,
absolutely.
a lot of colubrids are a lot smarter than people think they are.
Yes, I see that in I have a eastern gray rat snake,
That's
and
awesome.
he is so smart, like dangerously smart, like stay in your enclosure type smart. But yeah, they're really cool and incredible and intelligent, and he gives me a run for my money because he just that brain is always firing off. I swear.
I watched one of your podcasts recently. It was I don't remember the guy's full name, but I watched it because his name was Klye, and my name is Klye. So I watched it. What was his name? It
Oh
was like
yeah,
something about Kyle's keeping or something.
was it Reptiles by Kyle by chance?
I don't know, but it was kind of recent. And you guys were talking about how you both were keeping, and then you had a period of time where you were not, and you came back to it.
Yes, yes, that was Reptiles by Kyle. Yeah, we were talking about that. It was growing up. I did a lot of different reptiles, from bearded dragons to crested geckos, things like that. Had ball pythons, had rat snakes, and then there was a period of time where I kind of like fell out of it, and I think it's just that progression into like being an adult essentially. um but then once I got back into it, it was just like full force, and I've been going nonstop pretty much ever since.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same thing happen. So my first, we had like a family cat, family dog, but my first pet that was just mine was a ball python. And my sister just showed up and brought me a ball python in an enclosure. She said, "My friend went to college. Do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." And she was like, "Good, because I
Yep.
brought it home, you know." And then she gave it
Good,
to
because
me.
you're getting it whether you want to or not.
Yeah, it's like it's here, boom, and then
Right.
yeah, I mean, after that, I got like a jungle carpet that used to bite me so much, only for like a week, because I basically, it only took like a week to tame it out, and that snake used to bite me. Like, I'm not even kidding. It probably bit me like 40, 50 times in a row when I finally got it home and held it. And then I
Dang.
refused to leave the handling session on a bad note. So I literally waited until it stopped. And then it just stopped, and it was just there like shivering,
Oh no.
almost with just like a hyper awareness. And then I put it back, and the next day it bit me like 10 times. And then the next day it bit me like five. And then after like 10 days, it never bit me again. But
That's really fast.
it was fast. I mean, but it took just me not caring about getting bit. And it was literally
Right.
biting me and then peeing on me and then biting through the pee into me again. Like,
Literally, they do that though.
it was gnarly, yeah. So, but yeah, I had snakes way back, like 18 years ago, and then I went through a period of time where I did not have any snakes, and I got back into it, and around like 4.5 years ago now, I got back into it, and there was definitely a learning curve. So I had gotten a coastal carpet because I really missed that old jungle carpet that I was just telling you about. I had rehomed it. I always regretted that. I'll never rehome one of my pets again. Only stuff that I originally intended to sell is stuff that I get rid of. But my pets are my pets, and I'm keeping them. Because I kind of learned my lesson from always regretting that. But I got a coastal carpet. My jungle had a head stamp that looked like a smiley face, and I got a coastal that had the exact same almost head stamp of a smiley face, and I named it Smiley, and it was kind of like the replacement for that other snake that I had named Cuddles back in the day, that jungle carpet. So I got
Oh.
it, and I was way outdated on how to keep it.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew how to keep it healthy, but I didn't know how to keep it like people keep things in 2025 and the 2020 or whenever I got it. So I put it in like a 40-gallon fish tank. You know what I mean? And got
Yep.
like a reptile screen lid from the store. And this coastal carpet showed up. It was a baby. It was like 35 grams. So it's like tiny snake. I put it
Itty
in there,
bitty.
and then like this screen lid has no lock at all.
Oh no.
Right. And I'm just assuming the snake is too weak to push it up. So some time goes by. I'm still thinking the snake is a smaller snake. It's too weak to push it up. There's literally nothing holding it down, but a heat lamp, which wasn't holding it down. And I'm lucky it didn't fall and cause a fire with what I'm about to tell you. But I came down there one day, and it was feeding day, and the snake was gone. So the coastal carpet python was completely gone. In the room I'm sitting in right now, it's a partially finished basement. So it's like where I'm at is finished, and then on the other side of the room over here, there's like a laundry area and a hot water heater and stuff like that. And there's a hole above that where it's just like exposed roof, or I mean exposed ceiling, and it leads into the inner parts of the house. So I'm looking for this snake all day. I it was not in the snake room. I tore everything apart. I flipped everything. It was not under anything. It wasn't above anything. It wasn't anywhere. And I basically went upstairs and I prayed. And I was like, God, if you want me to find this snake, please help me out because I've looked everywhere. And then
Right.
my wife was doing the dishes and she saw the coastal carpet python fly out of a hole in our roof trying to bite a bird. So she was like, I found your snake. And I went and got on a ladder. It was feeding day, so I had a frozen thawed prey. I had a rat already thawed out. I put it in front of the hole. The snake shot right out and bit it. I pulled it out of the hole, and its whole entire belly was full of everything that was in the bird's nest. And
It had a heyday.
yeah, so my house is literally a basement, a middle level, an upstairs, and then there's like the attic area where it's and that's conjoined to the roof. The snake went from the basement level through the inside of the house all the way up to above the top level into the roof because from that far away, it through its Jacobson's organ or whatever, sensed that there was a bird's nest up there.
That's incredible.
Isn't that insane?
That's amazing that it was able to pull that out from that far.
Yeah, I mean, so after that, that snake was never a replacement for another snake again. Smiley is its own snake with its own personality because I was like, you're kind of crazy.
Right?
After,
That snake lives on the edge.
I was like,
No
you're
one tells
not,
it how to live.
you're not Cuddles number two. You're a completely different creature.
You are
So
totally different.
yeah. So I bought some dewormer and dewormed him just in case he got like a parasite from eating the wild
Yeah.
animal. But and then I saw a video recently also of a carpet python eating eggs. So I don't know if he ate live baby birds or if he ate
Or if he
eggs.
ate the eggs.
It may have been either one. But he was going for the parents when we finally found them. But then I upgraded to all like PVC enclosures and stuff like that, and racks for the babies and much more secure stuff.
Right.
I learned my lesson from that, but I thought that was crazy that he hunted that from that far away.
That's impressive, if anything.
It was. It was wild.
Yeah. That's a really cool snake, though. That's the thing, though. It's like, again, going back to how smart they are, and it blows my mind because we have always looked, not us necessarily, but we've always looked at them as just like, oh, it's just a snake. They don't really know what they're doing. It's like, no, they know. 100% they know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to them than we realize. That same snake is now like the most social snake that I have. I mean, when I walk in
That's
this room,
cool.
he starts roaming when I come down here. When he notices it, I'll walk in and he's not doing anything, and then I'll look at again and he's roaming back and forth, and I'll literally just open. I'll give him like I'll let him relive his moment of escaping. I'll just open his PVC enclosure and I'll let him go out of it.
Have at it, bud.
Yeah, and he always goes to like he starts going towards like the highest possible place in the room. But
Oh my gosh. I
yeah, I'm
love
like, all
it.
right, now it's time to get you. But
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he always wants to come out, and he sees me and knows I'm the person that lets him out. Now it's
Yeah.
time to like show myself so that he can let me out. So I mean, he understands completely my routine, and he's really
That's cool.
smart.
That's honestly, those snakes, though, they do get into routine. And I question when it comes to routine, so you have your own thing when it comes to like the social media side of things. Do the snakes adjust to that too? Like, are they comfortable with being handled and like filmed and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, and not all of them start that way. And it's funny because you could handle a snake a bunch of times and not realize that the camera is going to trigger that specific animal. There's certain snakes that just hate the camera. I think it might look like an eyeball or something like that to them.
Oh, they feel
Um,
like they're being watched or something.
yeah, and for some reason, pictures are worse than a video, and I think it's because it's constantly adjusting. But yeah, I mean, my scrub python that I have like a 4 or 5 year old scrub python, and when he was younger, every time I turned a camera on, he would just bite it. Um,
He didn't like the camera.
Not at all. But now he doesn't care. But you'll notice if I get it too close to him, he'll just turn and go the other way. He still doesn't really like it. I mean, he's just
Oh
kind
man,
of
bless
gotten
his
used to
heart.
it. Yeah, it. He hasn't bit me since like it's been like 10 months now. So however many days without an accident. But
Right.
I
Without
worked with him a
workplace
ton.
incident.
Yeah, like I don't know if you ever watched The Simpsons where they're like 100 days without an accident and then they reset
Right,
it.
right. Start
But
crossing it out slowly.
yeah, he used to bite me constantly, and then now it's like he's cage defensive, but I have my tricks to where I can just get him out, and then once he's out, he's pretty cool. He doesn't really care too much once I get him out. But then since I'll get new snakes in, I still get to get bit all the time by different stuff, you
Oh
know.
yeah, because they're all new to you. Like,
Yeah,
oh, what is this? Chris is actually, I forgot the sponsor reel again because I was enjoying our conversation. But Chris is reminding me in the comments. If you don't mind, can we roll the sponsor reel real quick?
absolutely. Go ahead.
Awesome. Go ahead, Chris. Roll our sponsors. Potentially.
Right about.
And wait for it. No. We do have sponsors, guys, I promise.
We are getting towards that hour mark, anyways, right?
We are, yeah. I was actually looking, I was like, I was supposed to do this like half an hour ago. My bad.
Maybe we could roll them out to close the show in a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chris, if you're down with that, we can roll them out to like close the show out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely cool with that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I back to social media. The key to me is be social. I think that that's what people really forget. On especially on Instagram and stuff like that, is you have to interact with people in order for them to interact with you. I share all types of people's stuff that I don't. Sometimes I don't even know the people. I just think what they're posting is cool. I share it to my story. I'm not, bogarting my story to only be for my stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm gonna promote other people's stuff too because it doesn't hurt me to do so. And it helps everybody to promote cool reptiles because that gets more people interested in reptiles and that all helps all of us. But yeah, I mean, I think people will find that when you socialize with other people, that's what social media is for. You know,
Absolutely. It's that connection purpose. And, I think it's cool, like you said, it's not like social media and my platform is nowhere near, as large as really a lot of people's out there. But I still like to be able to share other people's content because for me, like I keep ball pythons, it's the most basic snake, but I love them to death. But I don't keep certain, boas, things like that. So I want to still share those. So I know these people, that I follow that might keep rosy tails or something, is
yeah.
that the name of them? Rosy tails, I think.
Well, there's rosy
Um,
boas and then there's red tails.
I mix those two all the time. I'm like, it's not rosy tail, bro. They're
I
two
was
different
gonna just let you go
snakes.
because I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Good. Appreciate you.
Yeah, for
But I'll
sure.
see them and I'm like, let me share this too, because like these snakes might intimidate people, but there's a really beautiful side to them that these guys are showing off. And it
Yeah, for
lifts
sure.
everyone up, which is, I mean, that's the end goal is to really lift everyone up and educate everyone.
Yeah, like my boa is my nicest snake. I got her from BHB, Brian Barczyk's company. Uh,
Okay, yeah.
like I don't know. I guess she was four in June, so she's just a bit over 4 years old. but literally, I trust her more than any ball python I have. I trust her more than my corn snake. Um,
I definitely trust my ball python more than my rat snake,
they're
for
a bit more
sure.
more darty, right? But like it
Yeah.
seems like a lot of kids like to hold the corn snakes. They like to hold the ball pythons, and the
Yep.
boa scares them because she's now over 6 feet. She's big. But the thing is, they could. I've literally had my youngest son when he was like 2, grab her face like this, just walk up and just he literally walked from across the entire room and just grabbed her face.
He just
It
walks
was
up. He's like, "And this is mine." No,
yeah, and I'm like, no, you know.
like, don't do that.
But she didn't even flinch. You know, I didn't let his hand grasp tight enough to do any damage to her. But she didn't.
Yeah.
I literally, when I got her, I touched her head over and over and over again, and I touched her tail over and over and over again. And you know, I mean, I got her from Brian Barczyk's company, so she has to be from one of the oldest lines of captive bred boas that exists. I mean, people are thinking about reputations on certain animals, and they're thinking of stuff from like the 80s. And I mean, now at this point, that's 45 years ago. You know what I mean? So, like, wild caught retics, were they mean? Probably. You know
Right.
what I mean? But now they've been captive bred for 50 years. Mine has never struck at me.
They kind
Um,
of just start to develop more of like a docile nature, more of a handleable nature, or I should say tolerable.
yeah, they literally adjust to us. Like, ball pythons have been captive bred so long that you could breed a ball python in the middle of the winter. I mean, you
Right.
could, it
Yeah.
doesn't care. It's like, oh, it's time to breed, fine.
Like, let's
You
do this.
Yeah, you could literally breed ball pythons all year round because they've adjusted so much to captivity. Boas are the same way. They've been captive bred 40, 50 years now, so it's not the same animal that you would just stumble upon and find in a forest in South America.
Right. And
Yeah,
you can handle more of them that way. And I think that's the big thing too, is like realizing that that wild snake is not the same as the one you have at home, you know.
exactly. I'll leave off on this. I found this out the other day. Ball pythons have existed for 26 million years. Did you know that?
Wow. No, I didn't.
They're one of the oldest species of snake that exists. So it actually shows you why
Wow.
they're such a good pet, and they can withstand some of the stuff I see people do to them on Facebook groups and
That one.
stuff
That
like
one.
that. I dread logging into Facebook, just like
Oh, I hate it. Those Facebook groups, man, they're so. I will take any social media over Facebook sometimes. I can't do it. I start getting anxiety. I'm like, I'm gonna start fighting, and I can't do this. We're trying to be positive here.
Yeah, he said it's the most negative place on earth. But yeah,
Yes.
like you see why they withstand the keeping that was occurring in the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that. And it's because they've been around for 26 million years. These snakes have literally probably been through ice ages and stuff like that. They've survived all of this because they just burrow underground. You know, but it's really crazy to think that ball pythons have been around 26 million years, and all we're worried about is the next cool morph that we can come out with, instead of realizing we literally have a piece of history that we're keeping in our house, in our snake room or warehouse for some breeders or whatever. This is literally an African piece of history that we have in our house, and really a world piece of history because they've existed for 26 million years.
I I love the way you just worded that. You have no idea. So, I mean, we are constantly told, especially I'm constantly told too, that ball pythons are oversaturated in the market. And yes, they are. On the same hand, though, there's something about ball pythons, and now even knowing that, it just fuels that love that I have for them so much more.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like it
Like,
was
what
my
an
first pet
amazing
snake.
animal!
You know,
Yeah,
So I definitely love them too.
that's really cool to know. I love that tidbit of information. Actually, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought that was super cool, and I just learned that this week. So I thought that was
Yeah,
super cool.
that is super rad. Dang. So I have a question for you. I like to close out with I like to ask people like what is a bit of advice you'd give them, right? So just because we were talking about social media, if someone watching were looking to start getting into social media and they keep, arachnids or snakes or whatever, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Um, I'll say something really broad, and then I'll say something more specific that'll help them. So the really broad answer is pursue what you love, because I'm super happy pursuing what I love. So definitely do it. The more the more specific answer is it depends what platform. I built up myself through Instagram first and then YouTube. Through YouTube, you're just going to want to post, you're going to want to study what people are searching, and that's what tags you're going to use and stuff like that. And you make content about what people want to see and use your analytics to see when people are watching and stuff like that. Use good thumbnails and good titles, and that's what's going to drive YouTube plays. But what I'm best at is Instagram. So literally, if I was to start an Instagram from scratch, I know that you can follow and unfollow 90 people a day. So you can go
Wow.
follow 90 people, and 20 of those people might follow you back. You unfollow everyone that didn't follow you back. And then, I'm sorry, you could do 30 people in an hour. So you follow your 30 people, 10 of them might follow you back. And then an hour or two later, usually you should give it like two, because Instagram will literally shut off everything if you do it too much. But you unfollow the other 20 people and then give it another hour. And then you follow 30 more people. You know what I mean? You can do this up to the point where
Yeah.
you follow and unfollow 90 people a day. And I literally got up to like 4,000 followers just doing that. And
Wow.
then, I'm following random people. I'm unfollowing the people that didn't follow me back. And then from there, now I have a base. So now I just post. You know what I mean? And I don't unfollow and follow people anymore. I really, to be honest, don't have enough time. And then, once you get over, I would say keep your ratio good in the way that you look like a desirable page that people want to follow. Use that law of attraction. Have more people following you than you follow, because then people will think this is someone that people want to see. People want to follow this person, and this person is like exclusive. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Put that
it's
demand out there.
yeah, you'll see really, and I don't take it to the point where I don't follow anybody, because I think that's super rude. And like I said, I believe in being social, but you'll see super popular accounts with like 20 million followers, and they're following one person, and it's their other page, you
Right.
know. And then they're taking that law of attraction to the max, and basically saying like, you're gonna follow me, and I'm not gonna follow you, and you're gonna watch everything I'm doing, But I'm more along the lines of like, I want to be followable, but I will socialize with you. I will answer a random person's question and sit there and talk to them for 2 hours about how to get their snake feeding. You know what I mean? Or
Right. You're
different stuff like
personable in
that.
that way.
Yeah, I believe at some point you just become a narcissist
Right.
if you're really living in that way that you just want to ignore everybody else and only promote yourself. I feel like it's the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? But
It's a heavy form, I think, of just being, like you said, narcissistic and just having a really big ego in a
yeah,
way.
absolutely. And big egos get deflated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what'll happen if and especially this community is not about that. And
Right.
anyone that starts to get into that mindset in this community, they're gonna eventually get deflated. And I don't wish that upon them, but that's just what happens when you develop a big
That's
ego.
just kind of how the cycle works.
Yeah, but if I was starting a new page, and I've started new pages for a lot of things a lot of times, and I would just post a lot. You need to have, first of all, before you follow anybody, have 9 posts. That way people can look at your page and it's a full page. There's no blank spot.
Smart.
So at least they have one full page to look at. And then I follow people and I unfollow the people that don't follow me back. And then I continue, wash, rinse, repeat. And I continue
Nice.
to post during that. And hopefully I'm posting good content so that it'll catch some steam with some of those people that are following me back.
Right. And they'll start sharing it. It starts getting out there and pushed out more.
Yeah, absolutely. And then all of that snowballs, and then continue building.
Right. I love that. That's actually a really good bit of advice for that is the consistency and building your page before people start looking at it because then they'll have something to actually admire.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, my dad, he produces honey. He beekeeps, and I literally have a
That's
page for
rad.
him. I have a page for him with like 4,300 followers. That's following like 200 people. I just did it for no reason, just to just to build the page up. But I could do it with literally
Love
anything.
it.
I've had
And you
old
have that skill
businesses.
set too.
Yeah, I've had old businesses with 10,000 followers and stuff like that before. And organic followers is a big difference from just buying followers. And you can
Right.
see it too in the real plays. That's the biggest way you can see what people bought followers. You have 25,000 followers, but the reel you put out 2 days ago has 200 views. You bought the followers,
Right.
you know.
There's something sketchy. There's like a red flag there when you start seeing that.
Yeah, and when you're running a business, what good does that do you?
Right.
It
Oh,
doesn't.
absolutely nothing.
It doesn't do you any good unless the product is yourself. If
Right.
the
That
product,
authenticity is so, so important.
yeah, and I mean, who, and I can't sell snakes to a bot.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you.
A bot's not going to come watch my YouTube videos,
Right.
so it doesn't help me at all. If I was trying to be America's Next Top Model and get a modeling gig, and then they're like, "Oh, you have all these followers," that might help me if the product was myself and I wanted to fake it until I made it, type of
Right.
thing. But otherwise, and even then, it's a risky maneuver because people can just figure it out. But otherwise, it really doesn't help you at all to buy followers and stuff like that. It's better to have real people, and it takes time and dedication.
Yeah. Making it organic.
Yeah, and in order to put in all that time and dedication, it helps to care about what you're doing. But I have that type of mindset where I like to build. Right now, I'm building Markham Reptiles up, But in the
Right.
past, I've built things for less of a reason than this. So it's not hard for me to do something like this and really stick to it because this is finally something that I love.
That's the thing is when the passion's there and the love is there, it's gonna succeed.
Yeah, but for sure, I know that you have to go in the morning and support your partner, and I gotta wash, rinse, repeat, and do my reptile stuff all day tomorrow. So I'll go
Yep.
ahead and let you play your sponsors and pay the bills, and then call it a night. But yeah, I mean, social media, be social, work hard, and it's really not anything super complicated. It's just people have to put in the work.
Right. And I like what Kat just said down here is stay humble.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Always. Well, I really, really appreciate you coming on tonight, Kyle. This has been a really good conversation.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad. Chris, if you would like to close us out, we're going to run our sponsor reel. So nobody leave yet. Watch our sponsors because we love them.
Lights come on, pulse in the air, we unite. Cold-blooded, got 5 feet in the night. Cold-blooded, caffeine, fueling the fight. Reptile crew, got our backs tight. Thank you, fam, for keeping us all. CMB reptiles, rolling with soul. Hold no soul, lifting our goal. Together we burn like burning coal. Elevate, more fries in the show. Irresistible pythons letting it flow. Better reef crew, yeah, but watch them go. Indigo, reptile coast, set the glow. Shut up, feeders, we're shut up, feeders. Under the rock, we're cold-blooded hitters. Ship your reptiles, make life better. South Bay reptiles, through every weather. Blue Tongue, Shaman, Blue Tongue Republic. Arc adventures, riding Republic. No fakes, no breaks, we're here to publish. Taking it higher, dreams embellished. Sponsors